Early in the spring, 2007, I sought to be alone with the God of heaven. Sometime during a certain week, I walked a path and asked God to speak. He used His creation so I could see and hear 4 truths He had for me. The words He sang to me were such a sweet song that the very next day I brought my family along. I showed them that here up in the sky, a hawk was above me and hovering high. I told them God said to me the day before, "Look how easily those birds will soar." There's nothing they did but open their wings and await the power the rushing wind brings. If you'd open your arms, that's all you need do. You'll find that my power is sufficient for you. Then I told them how I'd seen a herd of deer, but as I drew close, they ran in fear. God said, "Now, don't you understand? They ran because they don't know man." I told my daughters, my wife, and son that it was fear of the unknown that made them run. And I told them what God said, "And you've run from me too. Do you not know me? For I certainly know you. If you do not learn to know who I am, then you will fear and run as the deer ran." I remember the crystal sky overhead. When I started my journey, my soul was dead. But I screamed up to God the day before, and I promised Him more and more and more. I would love Him and serve Him and go by His leading. And He held me that day in the midst of my pleading. Then He led me quietly to a special place and refined my heart with His love and grace. He reminded me with tones of a God who knows, and placed me in a ruin where one tree grows. I told my family what He said to me. Listen close to the message of this tree. There were walls all around in this strange facade, and the lone growing tree in the middle looked odd. Then words came from God in the sun's beams. The tree is not as alone as it seems. Take a look at where it's growing. Then you'll understand what I'm showing. Then I knew in my heart what I was to know. The sense of God's words began to flow. These walls are my home, and He wishes to enter, to take root in my family, and be at its center. God had a 4th word for me on that glorious day, when He healed my soul and tore veils of doubt away. In another stone house that was 3 stories tall, now had most walls crumbling or about to fall. Just a day ago I sat here and thought about how this place had been shelter, but look at it now. How does this happen to something so strong? Of course, God's answer didn't take long. You see, the rain came in first through a hole at the top. Once inside, the desolation will not stop. So cover your head, my son, when your weather's not fair. Cover your head and your home, my son, with prayer. I had to take my family back here to hear stories of birds and deer and tell them all that was told to me of the protection of prayer and a single tree. And it all happened one perfect spring day when my God met me with 4 things to say.